Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today for this simple watercolor Northern Lights tutorial. This tutorial is very simple and appropriate if you're just getting started with watercolor. So without further ado, let's take a look at the supplies we'll be using. So first and foremost, this is the watercolor paper I'll be using. It's Fabriano Artistico 100% cotton, which is going to withstand the large amount of water we will be using for the wet on wet technique for the sky. And then it is on a watercolor block, so I won't be taping it to a board. I'll be taping the paper directly on the block using this Scotch masking tape. And then just some kitchen towel rag to blot any excess water on my paintbrushes. For the brushes I will be using is a size 12 silver brush, round brush, and a size 8. I will be using the size 12 mostly. The size 8 is for the last step of splattering the gouache in the starry sky. And then also 2 jars of water, one for dirty, one for clean. And then some watercolor pigments. This one is the phthalo blue. We'll be swatching our colors in the next clip. And then I'm just using this inexpensive plastic palette for my colors and for mixing. And then finally, to do the starry sky splatter at the end, I'll be using Graham titanium white gouache, but any gouache is just fine. Don't feel like you need to use the same supplies as I do. And here we're going to be swatching our colors. The first one I'll be using is a lemon yellow. If you don't have lemon yellow, feel free to use a cadmium yellow or a permanent yellow or really any yellow. And then the next one I'll be doing this sort of aqua color. This is a cobalt turquoise. You could also get this color by mixing yellow and green or yellow and blue together. And then the next one I'll be using phthalo blue. You could also use Prussian or cobalt blue as well, or even cerulean. And then for the darkest color at the end, I'll be doing a dark blue indigo. You could also use Payne's Gray. So here I'm just quickly going over some of the techniques I'll be using. So to do the sky, I'll be doing these slanted brush strokes. And so if you are new to watercolor, I definitely recommend, trying this out. So with my lemon yellow, I'm just dragging my brush in a flicking motion down from the left corner to the right, and then going over with my turquoise, and we'll be doing wet on wet in the actual painting. Here I'm just, I'm not doing the wet on wet, I'm just doing it straight on the dry paper since it's just a practice, but I'm not going up and down with my brush, I'm going in one direction. So from top left corner to bottom right corner, and then picking my brush and then just doing it in a flicking motion, and then laying the colors on top of one another, making sure not to cover up the yellow. And then also just quickly practicing the pine trees, which will be in the foreground of this painting. And the way I do pine trees is I just do a thin line with the tip of my brush and then just feathering out the branches. So if you've never done pine trees, I highly recommend you give this practice a go for yourself. Okay, so let's get started with the painting. You see that I have all 4 sides taped down with my masking tape, but that is optional. If you want to just have uneven edges, that is completely up to you. And in the first step, since we'll be doing wet on wet for the background, I'm going in with clean water with my size 12 round brush, and I have wet the paper, and just cleaning up the edges to make sure that there's no water pooling down, and that there's a nice even coat. And then going in with the initial layer of lemon yellow. I'm going in with a pretty thick version since lemon yellow is very light. And then, yeah, doing that up and down flicking motion with my brush, with the cobalt turquoise here. I am leaving the bottom and some of the bottom right corner more white. And I'm tilting my paper so that the color flows downward, and just having fun with it, letting the colors mix, making sure not to overdo it on the cobalt, and leaving plenty of white space and enough of the yellow to come through. And then going in with my phthalo blue, I'm going in with a more milky consistency, not the darkest, but just dark enough that it shows up. And then also going in with the indigo, not overdoing it on the indigo because it's very dark, and I want that bright turquoise and yellow and phthalo blue to come through as well. And my paper's drying pretty quickly, so I'm moving quickly. Depending on where you live, you might need to work more quickly too. This kind of painting, timing is everything, because we want the colors to blend, but we also don't want to create any unwanted splotches. And if you feel like you need to go in with a darker turquoise, darker yellow, by all means, you can kind of go back in with that as well. You can stop here, or you can keep going with that up and down flicking motion. And I'm mostly using the tip of my brush, so that I'm not overdoing it on the color. So I've let the background completely dry, and now it's time to move on to the tree line, and I'm starting in the lower right corner, and I'm doing that same technique with the trees, just a thin line and then feathering out the branches. And I'm using all kinds of different colors, and I'm using a pretty light consistency, and keeping the paint pretty transparent, to signify that the light is shining through. And you can do any kind of tree line that you want. You can do one straight across. I've just chosen to do one where the outer trees are angled in, and kind of like almost like you're looking up at the trees into the sky and giving that illusion that you're below the trees. But feel free to do any kind of tree line that you want. Mix up the colors. Not every tree has to be the same color. I'm just using a combination of my different colors. And last but not least, after the tree line has dried, I'm just covering it up with a paper towel, and I'm going to be splattering the white gouache with my size 8 round brush to do the starry sky, adding a little bit of water to the gouache so that it flicks off my brush easily. And then I'm going to take my other brush and tap the size 8 brush against the handle to do that splattering of the stars. And we're pretty much done here. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you enjoyed it, please go ahead and thumbs it up and subscribe to my channel just to make sure you don't miss out on any more of these fun tutorials. And yeah, once it is dry, go ahead and remove that tape. And do leave any comments or questions in the comments section, and I'll be sure to get back to you. This step is optional if you want to go in and make those stars a little bit more bright. You can go in with a very small size 0 or size 2 brush and add more white. And yeah, thanks so much, guys, for joining. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye.